Hello students and online teacher. Welcome to physics lesson. I am Robot Demisahue. Today we see projectile motion. Then the online teacher will show you equations of projectile motion. Let us start. What is projectile motion? Two-dimensional motion is the motion of a body along a plane. If the motion of the plane is considered along the xy plane, then the x-coordinate and y-coordinate of the position of the particle changes with time. In two-dimensional motion, the body moves along a curved path instead of a straight path. The two main examples of two-dimensional motion are projectile motion and circular motion. Here, we will discuss projectile motion in physics, which is a two-dimensional motion. Projectile motion of a body under gravity. In physics, projectile motion is defined as the motion of an object under the influence of gravity. A body thrown vertically upwards is an example of projectile motion. For projectile motion, the air resistance acting on the body is neglected and the only force acting on the body is the gravitational force. A body thrown with an initial velocity at an angle with the horizontal is a projectile motion. In this projectile, the body moves along the vertical plane, and the path followed by the body is called a trajectory. A ball that is thrown horizontally from the top of a cliff is also a projectile motion. These are examples of projectile motion. For a projectile motion, the gravitational force acting on the body is in the downward direction. Therefore, the body in a projectile motion has acceleration due to gravity 9.8 meter per second square. It must be noted that no force is acting on the body in the projectile motion in the horizontal direction. Therefore, the acceleration of the body in the horizontal direction is zero. The projectile motion is uniformly accelerated motion. Therefore, we can apply the equations of motion in the vertical and horizontal directions. Types of projectile motion. There are different types of projectile motion based on the direction of the initial velocity of the projectile. The three main types are vertical projectile motion, horizontal projectile motion and oblique projectile. Let us learn them in detail. Vertical projectile motion. In the vertical projectile motion, the angle between the initial velocity and the horizontal direction is 90 degrees. The body moves in a vertical direction under the action of gravity. The horizontal initial velocity, ux, of the projectile is zero and the initial velocity is only along the vertical direction. Horizontal projectile motion. In horizontal projectile motion, the object is thrown in the horizontal direction and the angle between the initial velocity and the horizontal is zero. Therefore, the initial velocity of the projectile is along the horizontal direction and the vertical component of the initial velocity of the horizontal projectile motion is zero. The trajectory of horizontal projectile motion is a parabola. The body moves in the horizontal direction along with vertical down motion along the parabolic path. Oblique projectile motion. In oblique projectile motion, the initial velocity of the body is making an angle with the horizontal. The angle made by the initial velocity with the horizontal is greater than 0, 0 and greater than 90 degrees. Oblique projectile motion is also called angular projectile motion. The trajectory of angular projectile motion is a parabolic path. The horizontal of the initial velocity and the vertical component of the initial velocity is not equal to zero. That is all about the introduction. Look the simulation of projectile motion repeatedly. In the next lesson the online teacher will show you equations and calculations of projectile motion. If you have any question, write on the comment section. Thank you online teacher and students. See you in another lesson. Until then, goodbye everyone.